to what will probably be a quick video, just kind of as an extra add-on to the texturing tutorial. What I forgot to touch on was skin overlays and the full body tights clothing item, which both of which will help you do modifications to characters like direct like skin shape, you know, just for allowing for cool things like Zero Suit Samus and things like that. Skin overlays is something, if you want to display it on their skin no matter what the clothing level is, useful for, I guess, tattoos or wounds or I don't know, anything you want pretty much. To create one of those, we go into the body options, then we go into skin overlays. And we can do the same thing that we did with most things. We can actually click up here to do get body overlay template, which is a little bit easier than going into the material editor. So we just do that. And we have a body overlay. Now if we open this up, alright, so I had to modify this a bit because you can texture literally everything about your character. So you can make changes to this, and then save it, and then have that on your character. So we're going to do it in an area that's obvious because, as you see, I'm just going to try to keep this as YouTube friendly as possible. So what we can do is with this brush here, we're just going to make some changes. Let's give her like some stripes here. She's got like war paint or something, I'm not sure. Give her like a tattoo of like a heart somewhere. Let's go like that. And then maybe make that like pink. So you can imagine if you want to create a character that maybe has like some weird skin tones or something like that, this makes it really easy. You just color the areas where you want to change the skin tone. So yeah, I mean, there's also other ways you can do that. I could show you in a minute, but this is the most controllable way to do that. So we have all of this. We can just turn off the background, then Control-Shift-S to save this into overlays, I suppose, and I'm just going to call it tutorial or test or something. PNG. We can flatten the image, obviously. There we go. And so that's done. So then we just go back to Koikatsu, and then we just take the body overlay texture on top of almost everything. Just load that texture in the overlays folder. There we go. And there it shows up. That's how easy it is. So I can show you a few things that I've done with skin overlays at the end here. So I haven't used skin overlays quite as much as I've used the full body tights because most characters that I would want to modify them like this is it's going to be a set of clothing instead of, you know, their skin itself. So let me clear this texture. Alright, so here's another thing. If you do want to change the skin tone in certain areas, there's another option you can do, and that's called the suntan. Alright, so the suntan option will let you choose a certain region of the body to change colors. So what you can do is change that to any color you want, essentially. So if we want it to be like red, we can do that. You know, or like green, I don't care, depending on what you're feeling. Another thing I will do is show you the full body tights modified texture, so we can go into bra selection and it will load up. So what we can do here is choose this option here, which it'll give you a complete costume that you can modify. Oh, she's still wearing the socks. This is something where if you want a full body costume that you can remove and see the body underneath, you can retexture this to achieve that. So let's actually dive into that. What we can do is, well, okay, so for this one, we're going to need to open the material editor and export the UV map. And I think you need both. Sometimes it just exports one part of it, so we need both. And so we export both of those, and it should show up for us in this folder here, which we can now open both of these files and combine them to be able to modify the tights. And if you notice, it is the exact same. Here, let me bring the sensor bars back. Jeez. Alright, and if you notice, it's the exact same texture, except it's just larger. And so you can make modifications to the body that can be removed, like a clothing item, which is very useful, again, for characters like Zero Suit Samus or like Diva, if you want to do that. I mean, it's up to you. You can dive into this. I certainly have. I can actually show you some stuff I've made with this. So I've made stuff like this, which maps perfectly onto Zero Suit. So this was just like me with the brush tool and like certain blurs and stuff like that, and like just trying to get everything to look normal, and then that resulted in this being possible here. So there we go, and all of that maps pretty cleanly. It took a while to make this actually, but yeah. And I did end up modding this hat in. I need to figure out how to like reliably do that. What I was trying to do is eventually get it to where there's one piece of armor for every part of the body that like perfectly maps onto it, but I don't know if that even is going to be possible. That's something I'll have to look into, but yeah. So one thing you really want to watch out for is hitting that hide base texture. You gotta make sure that's checked off, because if you have like transparency or like holes in the costume, the original will show through if you don't hide the base texture. I forgot to mention that a big way that I've used skin overlays is when I want to emphasize the body. So I have a body emphasis overlay. Alright, so if I go to skin overlays, I go to body overlay texture. I do have a body emphasis overlay that I have made. I might be able to share it if anybody wants it. That just adds some shadows and highlights that just kind of enhances certain aspects. So I can't show this, but just know that there's like some shadows in key areas and things like that. If you can see from this image, I can share the image, of course. I might actually just put it in the description. Who knows? But another big way that I've used that is with Daisy here. I wanted her to have freckles. So what I've done is through skin overlay, I have just put a bunch of dots, you know, in key areas, and it gives her freckles. That's skin overlays. And so I think that pretty much wraps up overlays, skin overlays, and the full body tights thing.